Monday, November the 6th, 2017 at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. We'll call the meeting to order and do the adoption of some minutes first. That would be the regular open minutes of October the 16th and the special open minutes of October the 26th. Could I have a motion? Okay, thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Thank you. No business arising, no introduction of late items, no delegations, no. Sorry, do we have?
You have to adopt the agenda.
I know, but I'm still there yet. Before the delegations? Okay. So the agenda of November the 6th, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg will be adopted. All in favor. Thank you. Now, no delegations, no water matters, no correspondence, no bylaws. Okay, we're done. So we will go on to business. Business number 1, and that would be a development variant permit application, and that would be Ms. Huang, our senior planner.
All right, thank you. The purpose of this report is to request that Council approve the requested variance and authorize the issuance of development variance permit number 17-02. The subject property is zoned AG agricultural and has an approximate total area of 0.26 hectares. Surrounding land uses include agricultural lands and Finch Pond to the north and west, a single-family dwelling and institutional lands to the south, and predominantly single-family dwellings to the east. The property owners are proposing to renovate the existing single-family dwelling and construct a new deck addition in the rear yard. The addition also includes a roof structure that covers a portion of the deck, as shown in the attached rendering. The town zoning bylaw number 1085/1998 requires a 9-meter setback from the rear lot line under the AG zone. The existing dwelling is considered non-conforming with regards to siting, as a portion of the building is currently located within the rear yard setback. Therefore, in order to facilitate the proposed deck addition, a variance is requested to reduce the subject property's minimum rear lot line setback from 9 meters to 1.2 meters. In accordance with the town's council policy on considering development variance permits, council shall take the following criteria into consideration when reviewing a DVP application: hardship, impacts, and viewpoints of neighbors. Staff's review comments with respect to these 3 criteria are discussed below. The property owners have also provided a rationale letter and accompanying photos as part of their application. In terms of hardship, the existing single-family dwelling was constructed approximately in 1939. However, it was subsequently subdivided from the surrounding orchards to the northwest in 1963. The subdivision resulted in the building being sited in close proximity to the new rear lot line and non-conforming to current zoning regulations. Given the element of privacy, it is not unusual to locate a deck in the rear yard of a property. In this particular case, the deck also extends off from the living, kitchen, and dining areas of the dwelling. With respect to siting the deck in alternative locations, there are mature trees situated within the side yard area to the south, as well as a gradient change in the front yard area to the east. In terms of impacts, approval of the variance, which only pertains to the deck addition, should not generate significant negative impacts. The owners are not proposing to expand or increase the floor area of the existing dwelling as part of the renovation plans. From a visual perspective, the deck addition would not be visible from the front of the property, nor detract from the original Art Deco design style of the building. In addition, the surrounding lands are agricultural in nature, and there are no other neighboring dwellings behind the existing building. In terms of viewpoints of neighbors, in accordance with the town's Land Use Procedures Bylaw number 1235/2007 and the Local Governments Act, development application signage has been installed on the subject property, and individual notices were mailed to all owners and tenants within 60 meters of the parcel. At the time of writing this report, no written submissions were received from the public regarding the development variance permits application. However, any submissions received by November 3rd, 2017 deadline would be presented at today's regular council meeting. All interested persons would also be given the opportunity to be heard on this matter during the council meeting. In terms of implications for the community, as mentioned previously, in accordance with the council policy on considering development variance permits, council shall provide an opportunity for members of the public to be heard and to present any written responses with respect to the variance proposal. Organizationally, development variance permit number 17-02 has been prepared and is attached for council's consideration. If the permit is issued, it will be forwarded to the Land Title Office for registration. In terms of budgets, there are no immediate financial implications anticipated at this time. Significant dates. In accordance with Section 504 of the Local Government Act, the development variance permit lapses if construction is not substantially started within 2 years after the permit is issued. In terms of sustainability, the proposed variance would allow the property owners to include a deck addition while renovating and enhancing the Art Deco style of the existing dwelling. Options before council include option number 1, council approves the requested variance and authorizes the issuance of development variance permits number 17-02. Option number 2, council authorizes the issuance of the permits with amendments. And option number 3, council denies the issuance of the permits. And staff's recommendation is option number 1, that council approve the requested variance and authorize the issuance of development variance permit number 17-02 to vary the following section of zoning bylaw number 1085/1998. Section 8.1.2.1 to reduce the minimum rear lot line setback from 9 meters to 1.2 meters to facilitate a deck addition to the existing single-family dwelling. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you have attached several pictures and so on as well, so we can see that.
Yes.
The one thing that occurred to me when I looked at this report was the 9 meters setback to 1.2 meters. Mm-hmm. That's quite significant. My immediate thought was at some point the property behind there, which is the southeast Meadowlark area, could be redeveloped into homes. I know it may not be for quite a while. I just wondered if that would have any impact on the fact that this is close to the property line, or is that something too far in the future that we don't worry about it?
That could be consideration for the future. When looking at the proposal, if, let's say, if the deck addition was separated, was not attached to the dwelling, it would be considered as an accessory structure. And so if it was considered to be an accessory structure, the setback would be 1.2 meters. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
but in this case, because it is attached to the house, we have to treat it as part of the principal building.
No, and the owner is aware that that's the future plans for the property behind, which is now agricultural. That could be. There is a possibility of having that in the future. That's our plans, long-range plans. Am I correct, Mr. Manko?
I don't know. Isn't that in the green area? Isn't that property in behind this in the agricultural zone? That's not slated for development. It's the buffer zone.
Well, this property is zoned as agricultural and designated as agricultural as well. So even this property is included as part of the Southeast Meadowlark area plan.
But the property in behind it.
The property in behind it is quite a large area, so it is part of the Southeast Meadowlark area plan.
For redevelopment or part of the green agricultural buffer zone?
I don't believe there's an agricultural buffer zone.
Yeah, the whole area is not slated for redevelopment. We have to leave an agricultural strip.
Okay,
was my thinking anyway. But
attachment number 2 is the one that I looked at. Yeah, because there's the property right behind, and I just wasn't sure how. Whether that would make a difference or not with the closeness to the property line. No. we'll deal with that when it happens. It may not be for many years. Would you like to speak first? I just wondered if the property owner had any concerns or any questions, or would you like to address council?
I can.
Yes, please come up to the microphone and state your name and your address.
My name is Shelley McIntyre, and I'm representing John and Shelley McIntyre, who live at 6216 97th Street in Osoyoos. And I'm open if there's any questions or concerns about what we're trying to do with this. I'm very open to any questions.
Sure. Did you realize that the property behind you, all of that, could be at some point turned into the Southeast Meadowlark? There is a plan for that. Maybe in the future, because we're just dealing with the behind the new fire hall at this point, and it takes quite a while.
No one's mentioned anything. As far as I can see, the road that would be used would be at the back of the orchard. There is no other road access in the front part.
Sure.
Otherwise, you'd be using our driveway or our neighbor's driveways.
Okay. And as long as you're comfortable with this, then, and my suggestion is that there is a whole study that's been done on this. It might not be, it might be a good idea to go in and just check with Ms. Wong. She can show you what the proposed looks like.
There's a Southeast Meadowlark area plan. The development plan actually also covers this subject property as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess like that is for some time in the future. If there are any redevelopment plans, then this particular property is captured within the area plan.
But if you do go into the planning department, you can just see what is proposed in the future.
Absolutely. I'd really like to know.
Sure, of course you would.
No one's mentioned anything.
Okay. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McAuliffe. I'll move option 1 as worded in the
Okay. Councillor King is seconding that. Is there anyone who wants to speak to this then? Councillor Youngberg.
Hi, Shelley.
Hi.
I just am going to congratulate you on keeping that property. I've been here for a long time and know Karen, and I just think that's wonderful that you're going to do that.
Yeah, we want to totally keep it within the walls. We love the structure of the place.
Yeah.
So we're so excited. Everyone said to us, "Oh, you're going to blow out this wall," and we're like, "No, no, not at all."
That's great.
So yeah, I'm excited. It's a beautiful property.
It is.
And it was built quite some time ago, wasn't it?
1939.
Yeah.
39?
Yeah, we have a picture of the cardboard that they sort of drew it out on, and that was our original plans to use. So
Yeah.
so we had
Very interesting.
Yeah,
Good.
I love the history of it.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this? Okay. All in favor of the motion? Against. Thank you very much. Okay, that's passed.
Thank you.
Next is the expense, Mayor and Council meeting report for Councillor Youngberg. Could we have a motion, please, to, thank you, Councillor Campbell, Councillor King, that we approve that, the expenses for being at UBCM. All in favor? Thank you. Next is the Mr. Paget, building inspector, a liquor application.
Another one.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Sounds good and lively.
Okay, so this is a liquor license application for a structural change to existing license at the Golden Chopsticks, 8527 Main Street. And it's only for it's not a change of number of occupants or hours of service or anything. It's just an addition of patron participation and entertainment to their liquor license. So the background is the owners of Golden Chopsticks Restaurant at 8527 Main Street have applied to the liquor licensing branch to add patron participation and entertainment to the existing liquor license. The branch considers this to be a structural change to the license. A letter of request from the owner is attached to the report. I think you've all got that. Staff have received Part 11 of the document, which serves as notice to local government that a structural change to an existing license is being made within the community, and the owner is seeking approval to add patron participation and entertainment in the form of dancing and live music. The branch requests that council consider the application and provide the branch with a resolution within 90 days of the receipt of the application. It also states that alternatively, the local government may delegate staff with the authority to provide comments. Comments or resolutions should indicate whether the local government has gathered the views of the residents and provide a description of the method used to gather those views. Local government may also choose not to provide comments, in which case the branch will gather public input and may contact local government staff for information to assist them in considering the regulatory criteria. And the implications for the community may have an effect on the community residents living in close proximity to the establishment or emergency responders. And significant dates would be 90 days is the response limit, and that would come up on January 13, 2018. Options: council may direct staff to provide comments to the branch regarding this application. Or number 2, council may opt out of leading a public consultation process and direct staff to provide comments to the Liquor Control and Licensing branch should they request assistance.
Thank you very much. You have to wave your wand. This is a magic wand that we have.
Oh, no.
It's mine, actually, but Councillor Campbell needs to look after it.
So I'd like
Councillor
to,
Campbell.
I have a motion and then a question. So I'd like to move option number 2, if I can get a seconder.
That's been seconded. Thank
So
you. Go ahead.
This is the third time a similar request has been brought to us. Is there anything we can do as far as policy, rather than having to bring these back to council with the same result each time? Is this something we can direct staff as a matter of procedure and policy, that the option I'm proposing be what we do moving forward for these types of requests?
I think I could talk with Barry about that, but the way their information is written, it says you need a motion from council.
Okay.
We can discuss that.
Yeah, we could actually try and get that
It
clarified.
never used to be that.
And-
We never used to bring these things to council. It's recently, in the last year and a half, there's been some changes there.
Yeah, and-
Because we've just gone through the same thing quite recently.
Well, yeah, there's 3 of them in the last
month and a half.
month and a half, and before that, I don't recall any of them.
No.
No, it
ever
seems to be
coming.
our position that,
Yeah.
that this is how we're going to
Yeah.
proceed each time, right? So I was just curious if there's a way to
That
make
would
this
suit
more
me fine.
efficient.
We
But at any rate, that's.
But
I just
anyway,
wanted to make a
Okay.
motion.
We'll discuss it.
Yeah.
Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. I'd like to move option number 2 the way it's worded, and I do have a question.
we moved it.
We already
we
moved
did?
it,
Oh,
and
okay.
you seconded it.
Yeah, all right. Can I still ask the question?
So did you we had it moved and seconded. Did you have any concerns about?
No, I'd like to
Oh.
ask a question,
Oh,
though.
go ahead.
This is anticlimactic now.
Lost for words.
Can you tell me in a more contemporary term what patron participation and entertainment means?
Apparently, if you're going to do any kind of participation, like karaoke,
Karaoke.
dancing, even just playing, even if you have a DJ or live music or anything like that, you have to, they consider it a structural change to the liquor license, and they have to go through all this paperwork. There's like a 12-page document that comes along with this.
Wow.
That the applicant has to fill out. And those are changes, recent changes in the last year and a half, 2 years.
Can we draw the line at line dancing?
Yeah, they must be, because they've been participating in that for many years in that
Yeah.
Yep.
restaurant, yeah. Okay.
That's right.
That's what I remember. There was always a dance floor in there.
And they have been doing
Yeah.
this.
And it's never been closed. It's always been there.
Yes. Okay.
But she said it's just all new regulations.
There's new liquor licensing regulations and new personnel in liquor licensing. When I
Okay.
phone down there and talk to people, they're
More
all kind of new at
bureaucracy.
these changes, so.
All right, so we've got a mover and a seconder on option 2. All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Victim Services, Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. The town has administered the Victim Services Program on behalf of the province for many years. Through the past few renewals, Council has expressed concern regarding the amount of funding that has been received from the province for the program. In 2016, the province proposed a new 16-month funding process, but due to procurement issues, reverted back, and once again, the program is set on a one-year fiscal program, being April 1st, 2018 to March 31st, 2019. The funding has increased by $289.44 over 2017. This extra funding will go toward wages, but will barely give any type of increase in salary, let alone more hours for services. The Regional District has committed funding toward the administration of the program to a maximum of $5,000 through electoral assent. This will allow for some relief in the budget for administration costs. However, there will still remain a need to lobby the provincial government for more funding toward victim services. The program manager covers the town of Osoyoos, RDOS Area A, and Osoyoos Indian Band lands adjacent to these areas. In the past, Council has directed that the province be put on notice that the town would no longer administer the program unless more funding was put in place. However, this left the program in jeopardy, as there would be a need to find a community group interested in administering the program, and this group would have to subsidize the program, or services would be lessened, as the town currently provides benefits to the program manager through an employment contract. Implications to the community: continuation of the victim services program, organizationally, administration of the program, including the accounting and reporting of the program funds and payroll. Budget: the total budget provided by the province is $36,468.85. However, the town does provide in-kind costs of up to $4,000 for administration of the program. Up to $5,000 of this in-kind amount can be recovered through the RDOS upon invoicing. Significant dates: the funding application must be completed and returned to the province no later than January 15, 2018. Sustainability: continuation of a program that is great service to the residents of Osoyoos. Options: 1, that staff be directed to complete the funding application for victim services program for the 2018-19 fiscal year, or 2, that staff be directed to advise the province that the town is no longer interested in administering the program on their behalf. Staff recommend option 1. This is an important service for the town of Osoyoos. The program manager provides a service to victims of crime, domestic abuse, and notification of next of kin. She is supervised by Sergeant Beta.
Thank you very much. Anybody like to make a motion? Yes.
So clearly, with making this recommendation, you feel this is the best way to ensure the solvency of the program and moving forward. And I'd like to move option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor King is seconding that. Anybody else like to speak? Yeah. Councillor Youngberg.
Just a question I have. Has the Osoyoos Indian Band been approached to share in the cost, since they do service that area?
I don't believe that we have formally given them any request to support the program, no.
Would that be appropriate?
I would check to see whether they've got a similar type of program at the band office. They may have, and maybe that's...
Our program manager does provide victim
Okay.
support for the Osoyoos Indian Band as well, so if council directs us to send a letter asking for support...
If that's what if she is in agreement, the lady who does this, victim services, then I do think a letter should be sent.
Just a clarification, is it just for the Ankeny Spirit Ridge area, or is it for the town site?
Yeah, it would just be for what's inside the Area A, because
Area
there's
A,
a different
okay.
program manager for Area C and the town of Oliver, yes.
So what does that include? That's Incomeep, the RV park, or what are we talking?
Yeah, all the way
up
to
there.
Road 20, I
To
guess.
Road 20.
Yeah.
There's people living there too, so it's the lands, I'm certain, is it not? I think it's worth an inquiry anyways, that they share in the costs.
I'd make a motion to submit a letter to them. I don't know if it would be 10% or 20% of the cost.
Whatever.
I
they
be?
reach. I'll second it.
Well, yeah, you have to finish the other motion first.
Okay, hang on. So the motion is option 1, that we complete the funding application.
Yep.
All in favor?
Yep.
Thank you. Now, did you want to make a separate motion?
Yeah,
Councillor King?
thank you, Madam Mayor. Make a motion that we submit a letter to IB. I don't know what the proper amount would be, but 10 or 15% of the cost to me would be maybe appropriate if you
Maybe
broke the area
outline,
down or
yeah.
population down. You
What
come
we
up with a
do and
rational
why
number.
it's necessary, just see
I
if
think you
what they...
need to do it
would-
population-based.
I'll wait for a seconder and then
Okay.
I'll respond.
Are you, Carol, you're responding?
Okay.
Seconding? Sure.
So what I would do is probably check with our program manager to see how much work she's done
Yeah.
for the Osoyoos Indian Band before we set a percentage on that.
Okay.
She does support the Oliver program manager as well, but we do have a mutual aid agreement with them for that service. So it would just be for this area. So I'd like to check with her on.
That'd be fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think that's a very good idea to do that before anything more is done. Councillor Rose, did you have something? Yeah.
Can I just ask
Oh, I'm
before?
sorry.
Then would you get back to us on a report at next council meeting, or?
Yes. we could
Okay,
do that.
thank you.
Okay, fair enough. Did you have something, Councillor Rhodes?
My question was answered.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so do we need to vote on that?
Who seconded the motion?
I did.
Councillor Youngberg, yeah. So, all in favor of Ms. Van Vienen looking at this, sending a letter with, after she gets the information? Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Van Vienen. Next is Mr. Davis, Osoyoos Art Center and Senior Slow Pitch, which is why John's here, because he would be curling otherwise. Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
These two go together.
Staff received 2 requests for funding, which included dugouts on the senior men's slow pitch diamond and window replacement at the Art Center. Staff reviewed these items as potential projects for 2018, but we have community services grant funding remaining that can accommodate these requests this year. The Osoyoos Arts Building is in need of newer windows and some regular maintenance. The Art Center received a quote to purchase and install windows and also to fix the air conditioner units as they were not installed efficiently. The quotes they received included from Smart View Exteriors out of Kelowna, $7,045.50. And this quote included fixing the AC units at $700 and installing 6 windows at $6,010. And the second quote was from GP Construction in Osoyoos at $4,750 plus GST, and this included installing 8 windows. The artists on Main are prepared to offer $1,400, and the Osoyoos and District Arts Council are providing $1,000 to help offset the costs of installing these windows. The Senior Slow Pitch League received a quote to install dugouts at the Ball Diamond at the West Bench from Charlton Contracting in Osoyoos at $3,155 plus GST. There is approximately $11,000 remaining in the Community Services Grant funding. In terms of implications for the community, improving facilities to make them more energy efficient and safer to use is beneficial to all user groups. Budget, the Arts Center window replacement, $4,750 plus GST, and the Ball Diamond dugouts at $3,155 plus GST. Significant dates to be completed before the fiscal year end of December 31st, 2017. Otherwise, it will have to be carried over to the 2018 budget. And sustainability, new windows will assist in reducing greenhouse gas emissions by cutting down on the energy required to heat and cool the building. In terms of options, for number 1, for Council to provide the necessary funds to the Osoyoos and District Arts Council to replace the windows in the Arts Center, and to provide the requested funding for the Senior Slow Pitch League for dugouts at the West Bench Ball Diamond. These funds can be allocated from the Community Service Grants remaining funds. Option 2, for Council to provide lesser funding to the projects listed above. Option 3, for Council to move these projects to the 2018 capital budget deliberations. And Option 4, for Council not to fund either project at this time. And staff is recommending option number 1. Funding should include repairing the AC units as well as the windows. The quote of $4,750 plus GST, $2,400 minus the $2,400 for the artists on Main and Arts Council support brings it to $2,350 plus GST. If we put in another $1,000 to repair the AC units, the request would be $3,350 plus GST. Funding for the dugouts is $3,155 plus GST, and the total request would be $6,505 plus GST.
Thank you very much. I know that the Arts Council, if they got this, would like to have the windows done quickly, probably about a week ago. They'd like to have had them done. Do the dugouts, can that be done in this type of weather too, or does it have to wait for the spring? If that was...
It could be done, but it would probably be most likely in the spring. It depends, I guess, on if it's colder outside.
So it could be okayed now and done in the spring, but still in this budget?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
It would just have to be carried over as an item for that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is there anybody, Councillor?
Wouldn't we issue the check and then the money wouldn't be carried over?
We could do that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just confused by the wording in your recommendation. It says funding should include repairing the AC units as well as the windows. And then you've got include another $1,000 to repair AC units.
It was just based on the quote that they received from one of the other quotes. Right. It was $700 to repair the AC. And what it is, it's just poorly installed. Whoever put it in, it must have been done, I'm not 100% sure, by somebody who wasn't qualified.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, the error is just coming right in there.
Okay.
I'd move option number 1.
All right. And Councillor Rhodes is seconding that. And anyone else like to speak to it? Yes. What I like best, and I wonder if you're going to say this, is the fact that option number 1, the one that is Greg Mitchell, who is a local resident. And I always think it's so nice when we have, a quote that is the lowest one and it's from a local. Was that?
Yeah,
Okay.
in addition to that, Charlton Contracting is
absolutely.
also a business.
Charlton is also local.
I did get a response from our senior men's ball, and that was per dugout. So the quote that was given wasn't a total number for 2, it was for each one. So the request that I just got today is for double that amount.
For double that? I don't think we can do that, John.
Build one this year, one next year.
Oh. Okay, because that's what's done on the, on the letter that's presented to us was the 3312.
So hold on, did we just do a motion for 1 dugout, not 2?
Yes.
Okay.
That was what the recommendation that we got.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
So if we've got a contractor come in to do the work, rather than go through a process again next year, if the funds are available and grant and aid still for this year, why wouldn't we do both dugouts this year?
Yes.
Or we could do another motion to spend the X amount of dollars.
So how do we deal with this, Mr. Romanko?
Well, you'd have to vote down the
defeat this would make a new
Okay,
one.
so let's vote down that first motion.
Hang on, we didn't even go through it, so we've got a mover and a seconder for that motion.
Yeah, so now
before we take the vote, do we not just take it off the table, or do we? Okay.
We'll vote it down.
Well, we might.
Okay.
All right, so
No,
the
no,
motion is for the 6505 plus GST total. All in favor? Against? That's taken out. All right, now, are you making a second motion?
So I'd like to make a motion. The council provide the necessary funds to the Osoyoos and District Arts Council to replace the windows in the Arts Centre and to provide the requested funding for the Seniors Slow Pitch League for dugouts at a price of $6,310 plus GST for the 2 dugouts.
Now, does that come in under the 11,000
Yes.
that we had in the budget, just, right?
Yeah, 9660.
Okay, is there somebody wanting to second that
second
motion?
that.
Thank you. Anybody wish to speak to this?
I'd like to ask Charlton where he's rented his backhoe to do those dugouts from Kelowna. It's a lot of money. A lot of money per dugout.
Yes, it is. Okay. Sorry, John, can't let you speak on this one. All right, so the motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Against? That was lucky that we had money there. Okay.
It would have been awkward picking teams, wouldn't it?
Okay, so those people will be notified right away, because I'm pretty sure that
The windows.
that they want to get those windows done and everything done quickly. Okay, thank you, Mr. Davis. And Mr. Dinwiddie, amendment to the existing severe weather event policy for the sanitary landfill.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last September, the town of Osoyoos created a severe weather event policy for the town of Osoyoos sanitary landfill in response to safety concerns over flying debris at the site during extreme wind events. At the time, a severe weather event was defined using Environment Canada's criteria of wind speeds exceeding 64 kilometers per hour. Recent wind events at the Osoyoos sanitary landfill have shown us that the original 64 kilometer per hour wind speed limit does not adequately protect the public and town staff from the dangers of flying debris. It is recommended the Town Council reduce the wind speed limit at which staff may suspend processing activities from residential sources to 40 kilometers per hour. The proposed severe weather event at the sanitary landfill policy number 016, would be amended to read as followed. A severe weather event occurs when wind speeds exceed 40 kilometers per hour. When these conditions are present at the landfill, there is a dramatic increase in the amount of flying debris, resulting in elevated concerns over the safety of the public and staff. If these conditions are present at the town of Osoyoos sanitary landfill, staff will immediately suspend processing all activities from residential sources and close the facility to non-commercial traffic. If wind speeds drop below 40 kilometers per hour, staff at the sanitary landfill will then resume processing material from residential sources. If staff working at the sanitary landfill observe an increase in wind speed which is localized to the immediate area, they will immediately contact the Director of Operational Services, who may decide to suspend the processing of residentially sourced material until weather conditions improve. Implications for the community are enhanced safety procedures would reduce the possibility of flying debris damaging people and property at the sanitary landfill. Organizationally, the Operational Services Department would have a formalized procedure to protect staff and the general public when severe weather events occur at the landfill. It has no impacts for the budget. Significant dates. In order to improve safety conditions at the landfill, the Operational Services Department would like to implement this policy as soon as possible, and it has no impacts for sustainability. The options before Council are that Council approve the amendment to severe weather event policy for the town of Osoyoos sanitary landfill, PW-016. Option number 2 is that Council does not approve the amendment to severe weather event policy for the town of Osoyoos sanitary landfill. Option number 3 is that Council requests additional information prior to making a decision. Administration recommends that Council adopt option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. How do we measure the speed of the wind now?
We have a weather station up at the landfill. It's a small thing that tells us wind speed and stuff like that. So it actually is attached to the scale house, so we know exactly what the wind speed is there.
And that keeps record of it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Well, if nobody else has moved it, I'll move option number 1.
I'll second.
Okay. Before we vote on it, can I ask, from 64 down to 40 is a significant drop. Why was the number 40 chosen, and why not 50, as an example?
Because we observed that with our wind station up there that, like I said, when wind speeds were around the 40 kilometer per hour marks a few weeks ago, that there was a lot of debris flying around all over the place. So that's why we went for 40 instead of 50, because even at 40 there was a lot of flying debris that was causing us a great deal of concern. So that's why we went with 40.
Thank you.
We originally picked 64 because that's what Environment Canada considers extreme, but it's a little too high, we think.
Okay. Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. Did you have a question?
No.
No. Moved and seconded that we go with option number 1. All in favor?
Yep.
Thank you. That's carried. Gyro Park Concession Lease Renewal. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The lease at Gyro Park Concession will expire in March of 2018, and the tenant would like to renew for an additional 5-year term. Bordertown Enterprises signed a lease with the town in 2013, and as part of the agreement, there's an option to renew for an additional 5-year term upon successful negotiation of a new lease rate. Staff met with Mr. Payments and I, and he inquired about a number of items in relation to the lease. Administration did not want to increase the rate and feels the annual amount that is paid is sufficient. Mr. Sinai pays $500 a month and $6,000 annually. The lease items for discussion include bistro tables and chairs along the front pony wall of the eating area. He would like to have a quaint area to accommodate patrons. Second item, would like to discuss bylaw 1316, the animal control bylaw. This bylaw prevents dogs from entering Gyro Park in June, July, and August. Mr. Sinai is requesting a review of the bylaw to allow dogs on the promenade. This could be during the summer months as long as they are on a leash. Since he has operated the concession, he has seen bylaw constantly approaching patrons to remind them that dogs are not permitted in the park. This includes local residents, tourists, and seasonal workers. And number 3, getting the concession license to sell alcohol. If he has bistro tables and chairs set up, he asked about having an opportunity to sell beer and wine. This may give him an opportunity to extend his season and provide a higher level of service to the public. We do not have any other areas that are licensed, but we do have special events, the Osoyoos Coyotes at the Sun Bowl, and Market on Main. The most important would be the bistro tables. If these items were permitted, staff would work with Mr. Sinai to make sure it is aesthetically pleasing. Changing the bylaw or getting a license to sell alcohol would not be as important, but still preferred. I also spoke to Mr. Sinai about major events and the fact that we need to be able to accommodate larger groups during events like Canada Day and most recently the Cactus Car Jalopy Show. As part of the agreement, Mr. Sinai has exclusive rights for food sales at Gyro Park. Given the fact that he pays $6,000 a year to operate his business, we wanted to make sure he had an opportunity to be successful. However, there has been times when events such as these were too large to accommodate the crowds. To make this work now, we asked for special event organizers to provide other food vendors, and we pass that information on to Mr. Sinai as a courtesy. If there are foods that are not being offered, then we agree to include those businesses as part of the special event. This is something we can include in the lease agreement, stating that larger events would follow this process rather than just Canada Day. In terms of implications for the community, providing a food service at our main beach is a great addition not only to the locals but also to tourists. Organizational, just assisting with the lease agreement and being the liaison for the lease. In terms of budget, the revenue generated for the lease is $6,000 a year. Significant dates, the current lease expires in March of 2018, but if the lease is renewed, Mr. Sinai would like to prepare for next year ASAP. The options, number 1, for council to renew the lease agreement with Bordertown Enterprises for an additional 5 years and include bistro tables and chairs, review bylaw 1316, and also discuss the sale of alcohol at the concession. For council to renew the lease agreement with Bordertown Enterprises for an additional 5 years and improve the bistro tables and chairs only. No changes to bylaw or sale of alcoholic beverages. Option 3, for council to renew the lease agreement with Bordertown Enterprises for an additional 5-year period under the current lease agreement conditions. And option 4, for council not to renew the lease agreement with Bordertown Enterprises at this time. And staff is recommending number 1. Mr. Sinai has provided a good service at Gyro Beach. He has been cordial to deal with in terms of special events. Any issues that has evolved was dealt with immediately.
Thank you very much. I notice in what you provided us that the menu is there, and I have a feeling that probably needs some updating. So I would think when you do that. I'm also just checking with the tables. They would go on the outside of the pony wall, like on the walkway there, not the inside.
That's
okay,
correct.
And there's room there to do that.
Yeah,
there are
room.
some benches there too.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, and would he be the one responsible for purchasing
Yes.
the tables? And obviously they're movable, so he'd put them away at night, or
Every day.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Thank you. Sorry, Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess my question was, how many tables?
6 to 8 tables.
6 to 8. Okay. I can kind of support option 1, but I don't think it should include the discussion of alcohol. I think we should just make a motion to allow them the tables and chairs at this time.
Could I just interject, if you don't mind?
Sure.
I think what we're coming to council for is to take a look at whether there's a council interest in extending the lease for the option, and then just entering into discussions on the other areas. Because one of the options is to renew the lease as is.
Yes.
But at this point in time, any vote would just be to say, let's take a look at these options. But it allows us to come forward that we're implementing the 5-year option.
And then we would discuss
Then
some of
we
these other
would bring
options
back
later.
reports related to even the tables and chairs,
Yeah.
the dogs, and the liquor. We would be bringing those reports back to council based on a discussion with Mr. Sinai.
Okay. Councillor Campbell.
Okay, thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Seeing as that the particulars are, and it states right here in the options, are to be part of a discussion, I'll move option number 1.
Are you seconding that?
Just
Yes.
a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If our target is to alter the lease in any way, I don't think that would be covered in option number 1, because it's very definitive that it would be to renew the lease. So maybe a bit of wordsmithing might be necessary.
Well, in my motion, I'm comfortable with the bistro tables and chairs as long as the liquor license application is up for discussion.
Review and discuss are the other two, so
That's
maybe...
contrary to what Mr. Romanko would
Just
indicate.
yeah.
So do you think that we need to change the wording on that to make everybody
Just
comfortable?
Renew the license for 5 years.
Number 3, option 3.
Number 3.
And open discussions, and open discussions for the bistro tables and chairs, review of the bylaw, and sale of alcohol.
And the dog.
Would that
So
be
use
And the dogs,
option
yeah.
number 3 and just add the wording.
renew?
I don't think option number 3 covers it either.
No, we need to have just something. So if we change option number 1 to the way it is for an additional 5 years, and instead, and say, and open discussions on those 3 items, will that work? Rather than include bistro tables, say open discussions or have a discussion on those 3 items.
Well, we sure stomped all over that motion, didn't we?
I kind of wanted the bistro tables and chairs included in the motion because I'm for that.
But there's also going to have to be a discussion about how many and where and all that, and that should be part of the lease document. So rather than, I think that the word renews renew is the tough one. I think it's that council would be that council implement the 5-year option to renew after discussions for further consideration in the areas of, and then. So it's all we're doing is sending a message to the proponent that we're prepared to implement the 5-year option.
But you just said after looking at these other things. So I think we need to, from what I understand, is renew his lease, and then if that's renewed, we then discuss the 3 items.
No, we don't need to renew the lease. We need to renew a lease after discuss to totally. Again, we were just looking to council to see whether or not you wanted us to go back out to the public for a new vendor, or to implement the 5-year option to renew.
Okay.
And then so the 5-year option to renew would be considered after the discussions on those areas. Is that?
I think it's a motion.
Oh yeah, we'll bring it back. We'll bring it back to council after we've.
More information provided.
So we don't want option 1 then.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
I think I could reword it. So if for council to initiate a lease agreement on the 5-year option with Bordertown Enterprises for an additional 5 years with discussions around bistro tables and chairs, as well as the discussion regarding the sale of alcohol at the concession.
And the
And
bylaw.
the bylaw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
that's
yeah.
kind of what I
All
thought
right,
we were saying, too.
That's my motion.
Did you get that?
It doesn't expire till March of next spring.
Brianne didn't get it, so you're going to have to.
Okay.
For council to initiate a lease agreement with Bordertown for an additional 5 years, with discussions to include bistro tables and chairs, review of bylaw 1316, and the discussion around the sale of alcohol at the concession.
Is that all right?
Discussion around the sale of alcohol at the concession.
So it's option 1 with 2 words changed.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Review instead of renew?
Yeah.
Are you seconding
Initiate
that?
instead of...
Okay. And you want to speak? Okay. So, well, Brian's getting that. CJ would like to, Councillor
Did
Rhodes?
someone second that first?
Yes, he did. Go ahead. And we'll get her to read it back before we vote on it.
Okay. Director Davis, I'm just wondering when we get the report back if they would be done individually. I have some very strong concerns about the dog request in that area. It's not really about, the concession and that kind of thing. It's about the overall park area and why we do restrict them during that time of year.
And that may be another director, it may not be me, like if it's specific to bylaw and the dog park, or for the, not the dog park, but, for the dogs.
The dogs down there, yeah. That's Jeanette, I think.
Well, we certainly want to confer amongst ourselves, because we haven't done that within the administration yet,
Yeah,
between
for sure.
bylaw
Absolutely.
and community services relative to that area. It's just a matter of whether or not it would be entertained.
If it is considered and it does come to council, I would appreciate separate reports on those 3 items. I guess that's what I was
Might
trying to
make it
say.
easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
One
So,
question.
yes.
Director Davies, is there any merit at all in calling for the public to resubmit? Was there any interest in those options initially?
We never got anybody that wanted to take over the concession.
I just was wondering.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know if the town received
There was
anything.
a 5-year option on the 5-year?
Yes, but
there
an
was-
option.
when it was first brought out, it was a 5-year option, and what I recall, we had 2 applicants. And
Okay.
and then there was one of the reasons we went to a 5-year with a 5-year option, because there was significant infrastructure investment by the proponent.
So a 5-year option means we don't have to go through that process, correct?
We don't have to go through a public
Yeah, that's correct.
advertising.
Okay.
I understand we don't have to.
Just
I was
wondered
just
if you wanted,
asking
yeah.
whether or not there was any potential
Sure.
in
Yeah.
doing that.
So nobody else has come forward and asked.
Yeah, and again, if we had, if the service wasn't where it should be,
would
we
do
would
something.
definitely look at that just as that option, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good,
Thanks.
thank you. So, Mrs. Hilson, have you got that? Could you read it back to us, please?
That council initiate the lease agreement for the Gyro Beach concession lease with Bordertown Enterprise for an additional 5 years, with discussions to include bistro tables and chairs, review of animal control bylaw number 1316 2016, and discussion on the sale of alcohol at the concession.
Okay, we okay with that? All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. So thank you, Mr. Davis. We'll let you, I know that the Cactus Car Jalopy people had been in to see you because they asked me to, or they could have some leeway there. So I think that the special events form would have that information on it, wouldn't it? Okay, thank you. Next is the welcome sign selections. Okay. Mr. Dinwiddie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Operational Services Department was tasked with researching possible new designs for the Town of Osoyoos welcome signs. To achieve this, a request for proposals was issued in October of 2017, which resulted in the Operational Services Department receiving 7 proposals for the new sign designs. The request for proposal included the following: design, build, and install 4 Welcome to Osoyoos signs, removal and disposal of the existing signs, including site remediation, supply and install and energize lighting for 3 of the entrance signs. As an overview, 7 companies who responded to this request for proposals submitted a total of 9 different design options. The cost of these options range from $54,824.70 to $212,486.87. The Operational Services Department is seeking Town Council's direction on the type of selection process they would like to employ to choose the most appropriate design for our new Welcome to Osoyoos signs. The options before Town Council are: Town Council decides the winning design, a committee with representatives from Destination Osoyoos and Town Council decide, a committee with representatives from DO, Town Council, and 2 volunteer community members chosen from an advertisement placed in the local media decide, and option number 4 is a committee with representatives from DO, Town Council, and 2 committee members picked by DO and Town Council decide. The implications for the community are a dramatic improvement to the signage welcoming visitors to our community, organizationally a reduction in maintenance for the welcome signs to our community. Budget-wise, this project will be paid for with available RMI and reserve funds. Significant dates: in order to have the new welcome signs in place prior to Victoria Day, which is May 21st of 2018, Town Council should decide on the selection process as soon as possible. And sustainability, there aren't any implications. The options before Council, once again, are that Town Council decides the winning design, a committee with representatives from Destination Osoyoos and Town Council decide, a committee with representatives from DO, Town Council, and 2 volunteer community members chosen from an advertisement placed in the local media decide. Option number 4 is a committee with representatives from DO, Town Council, and 2 community members picked by DO and Town Council decide. Or option number 5 is that Council requests additional information prior to making a decision. The recommendation for administration does not have any preference as to the type of selection process Town Council wishes to employ to select the new design for the Welcome to Osoyoos signs. A decision to include a broader range of participants may assist by bringing more perspectives to the decision-making process and increase transparency.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted that we have 9 different designs that people have put forward, because I didn't hear anything about it. I had written down to ask somebody whether we had anybody. So
yeah.
I'm just wondering if, and you don't mention it in here, that members of the design panel, we have an advisory design panel, do we not?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that.
I don't know if it's functional anymore. I'd have to check with the planning department because it hasn't been used for a significant amount of time.
Well,
and Carol is a member on that.
Yeah, we met with Hart over the house.
Oh, did you? Okay, my apologies.
And,
yeah.
and I was on it at one time too, and I just think that there are some people who are on that committee, some of the members, who might have some very good ideas. So
there's 5 members.
I thought it would be a good idea to include them. Planning department has that information.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCormick. I'd like to move option number 2, please.
Is there a seconder for that? Okay.
I think
I'd prefer to see a different one.
Yeah.
I would prefer not just DO and Town Council. I'd prefer to have to look at perhaps somebody on the design panel or perhaps somebody in the community. So I would.
My concern with the community is how do you qualify who those people would be? So are we looking for specific skill sets, professions?
Artists,
the Arts Council maybe even would, some of them
but we'd
might.
have to specifically state the Arts Council. I think when we look at the representatives here with the common interest in making the best decision and Destination Osoyoos, whose primary goal it is to market our destination here, that the 2 organizations are qualified to make that decision, in my opinion.
2 committees picked by, well, I would even go with number 4, so that representatives from DO, Town Council, and 2 community members picked by DO and Town Council, which would allow us that option.
Can I just suggest you're providing options as opposed to focusing on the motion?
Yeah, so I've made a motion.
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor.
Yes, and it's seconded. All right, well, I was just speaking to the motion before we...
But you're picking options.
You're right. Okay, did you want to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Member Kordoff. I would speak in favor of the motion simply because the representatives from those 2 organizations can certainly decide to consult with the design panel and perhaps with our, I mean, you can do that within that small group that you organize. The concerns that I have about bringing other larger groups into it is it's going to drastically extend the time period that that'll be required, because we'd have to organize, we need terms of reference and so on and so forth. Option number 2 really does expedite the situation, and we could consult and do whatever we want with those other organizations as well.
I just have a comment.
I understand that. One of the things we need to look at is making sure that it's transparent, and that's partly why I wanted to. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess when I read their word with representatives, I don't know if that means 1 or 21.
Committee with representatives.
Committee with representatives from DO, well, I mean, they have 50 or 60 members, so representatives, I don't know.
From
How many?
Board, from the destination, so
It doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Well,
check.
and again, the council can narrow that.
I think
Yes.
the assumption was that it was the DO board, not
All
the
right,
entire
then we better put that
stakeholders.
in there if that's the case.
So, okay, and so if
Yeah.
I could reword to a committee with representation from the Destination Osoyoos Board and Town Council.
Okay.
I didn't assume we were talking about the whole stakeholder
I
community.
wondered too. Okay. Carol. Councillor Youngberg.
I would just like to speak to the motion. Committee with representation from Destination Osoyoos and Town Council may be a better word than representatives. And that's what Councillor Campo just said. A committee with representation from Destination Osoyoos and Town Council.
Okay, well, I guess what I'm saying is we need representatives from Town Council and Destination Osoyoos involved in the process, and we can
Yeah, got it.
grammatically
Got it.
check all that.
Does that make sense then?
I guess my only suggestion is that if would be to clarify the motion by having the numbers within the motion.
So I would say 3 representatives from each organization.
Three representatives from each
3 from
organization.
DO, 3
Two.
from council? Does that make sense?
We have 3 from council, and then you have a quorum.
That's
Oh,
true.
that's true.
Yeah.
So we
Three.
can't have that.
So it would have to be 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
Now, keep in mind that in this process, the 2 representatives from council can bring back to council any information and get any feedback they want, and the 2 representatives from DO can bring back to their whole board design ideas and things like that. At the end of the day, the committee is those 4 individuals that'll bring the decision, but they can both concur with their organizations all they want. Am I wrong?
One of my concerns is the fact that we go from anywhere from $54,000 to $212,000, and that I think we need some discussion about. And I'm
As
hoping
a
that the
council.
2 people on both will discuss this with
We would set some
Mis-
parameters, no?
Mr. Zackel. Well, we don't know. We asked for this, and now this is what we've got.
But I thought we were just talking about putting it as the committee, and I would assume that the specifics would be part of putting that committee together as far as what their budget is and everything else, no?
Not necessarily. I didn't
Well,
say that.
I think right now, it's a matter of a process of looking at the product, because there may be,
Yeah.
the committee may say, we don't like any of them. And if there is, the committee wants to bring something forward, again, value for money is one of the criteria that, in fact, the signs where the proposals were presented on. So my sense is that whatever the decision-making body would be, it would have to be brought back to council as a whole for budgeting purposes, because that's where the money's coming from.
Okay. And when you put out the RFP, Mr. Dinwiddie, it was to design them, build them, put them in the ground, and dispose of the old ones. Am I correct? That was all part of in the money? Okay.
So if I can just make sure we've got the wording on the motion right. A committee with representatives, with 2 representatives from Destination Osoyoos and 2 representatives from Town Council decide.
Can I clarify that?
Rather than
We're to make a
decide.
recommendation to council,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that way the council is clearly in control of the budget.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
rather than
Eliminate
decide,
the
to
word
make a
decide.
recommendation.
To
Okay.
make the recommendation to council.
Okay. Have you got that, Mrs. Hilson? All right, so you made the motion.
CJ
Councillor Rhodes seconded the motion. Is there any other discussion on it? All in favor? Against? Thank you. That was a 4-1 vote. You got that. Okay. Thank you very much,
Now
Mr.
you choose the
Dinwiddie.
two people
Now we
from
want to
council.
see what it looks like.
They're in the other room.
Okay, good. Perfect.
How do you choose the two people
Does
from council?
Oh, do you
council,
want to do that next?
council can choose the two people that would be on the recommendation committee?
Well, let's find out who's interested first.
Well, I would be interested
I'd be
as
interested.
economic development person
And I
for the
still
town.
want to see review panel involved. And I would like,
Oh.
I'd take the responsibility of bringing them together.
I am all right with that. You you don't have to consult them, but you might want to when you get
Right.
your 4 people together.
That's right.
Would somebody make a motion then? Thank you.
I'm
Yes.
interested.
So am I.
You did what?
'Cause we're all interested in.
Oh, you all want to be involved.
Why'd you
Okay.
cut down to 2?
All right, so what do we do? Flip a
Yeah, I
coin
know.
or what?
Keep the motion like it was. Town council was involved.
But we need
We've
2.
passed the motion.
We
already.
have 2 members of council. I'm not sure how to go with this one. Is there somebody who wants to make a motion and suggest? We've had all 4 people volunteer.
Sure, I'll make a motion.
What's your motion?
I'll move that Councillor King and Councillor Rhodes be appointed to that committee.
Is there somebody who is seconding that?
I don't know how you do that now, because can they second? Can one of them second it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the mayor could second.
Anybody?
I'll second it to put it on the table.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yes.
Mr. Romanko, is our downtown revite thing on long-term hold, or?
I'm hoping to be able to get it going early in the new year, depending on when the new planning director comes on. That's kind of my target.
Okay, I'll back out of the sign
Okay.
because of that, for that reason.
All right.
Well, that kills my motion.
So the motion is to have Councillor King and Councillor Rhodes, and so
But Councillor Rhodes didn't accept, right?
I seconded it, so we need to vote on this. And, all right, all in favor? Against? Thank you, that's defeated. Now, could we have another motion, please?
I don't think it's proper for you to make a motion for me
Yes,
to
you
be on a
can.
committee.
And me too.
Sure.
So I'll
Okay.
second the motion if you make the motion that you and I are on that committee.
Is that?
Whoa, we can't do that.
Okay, then I'll make the motion. I will make the motion.
Jesus.
Does that make more sense?
I don't know if there's any protocol relative to,
That's what I said. You couldn't
know,
make the motion.
Okay, can I make the motion?
Okay.
I will make the motion that we put Councillor King and Councillor Youngberg on this committee on behalf of council. Is there a seconder?
Can I second?
you can second.
Okay,
Okay.
you've seconded it.
Thanks.
All in favor? Against? That carries.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Romanko, you will deal with setting this up, or Mr. Dinwiddie?
Mr. Dinwiddie, or we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Can I ask a
Next,
question if we're going? If one of us aren't available, can we have an alternate?
is the mayor automatically on committees? No, not on this one?
No.
I was going to say I could be the alternate if that was the case.
Well, it should have something in place. This is November, and I would hope that we would have something pulled together in the next couple of weeks, at least.
I would
quickly.
think so, too. Can we leave it the way it is, and hopefully,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just relating. I'm going on holidays on the 15th of December, so.
Yeah, no way. I would hope that we would have this.
We'd have to
we
have
would
this done before
resolved.
the end of
Okay.
November.
That's fine.
I've got a
Okay.
summary report being developed right now. So
I just wanted to
Yep.
bring that up.
Can I just make a point about the process that just took place? That was just an odd thing that took place there, where one councillor voted against a motion because they wanted that motion to include another organization. Then that same councillor stated that they wanted to be on the committee so that they could involve that organization, and then reached across the table to say, if you make a motion, I'll second it, with a concerning process to me, so I just want to go on record saying that.
Okay, I think it was out in the open, it was discussed, and I think, yeah, it is a bit confusing sometimes, but I think it's okay. I'm comfortable with it the way it is. Next is the contract for the 2017 Capital Works Program, Finch Crescent. Mr. Dinwiddie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As part of the 2017 budget process, Town Council approved the following road rehabilitation projects. Intersection improvements at 68th Avenue and Highway 3s for enhanced pedestrian safety, reconstruction of 270 meters of Finch Crescent north of 74th Avenue, which happens to be the oldest pavement section in town. As an overview, it should be noted that part of the reconstruction of Finch Crescent would include replacing numerous 14 water services along the street, which would be paid for out of the water budget. An analysis of the bid price submitted by Mike Johnson Excavating reveals the following. The bid price plus contingency is $186,575. The cost of the water works is $32,450, which would be paid for out of the water budget, for a total bid price for the road work of $154,125. This total for road work improvements is $4,125, or 2.75% over the $150,000 combined road work budget for this project. Additional funds are available in capital roads budget to accommodate the extra funds required. It should be noted, though, that if the $9,000 of contingency sum is eliminated from this project, the bid price for road work component of this capital works project is $4,875 under budget. An additional option available to Town Council is to defer the 68th Avenue intersection improvement component of this contract until a later date. This would result in the bid price submitted by Mike Johnson Excavating Limited, including contingency sum equal to $118,185, which is $31,815, or 21.2% under the combined roadwork budget for this project. And there's an attached report from True Consulting for you to review. Implications for the community: improved pedestrian safety at the intersection of 68th Avenue and Highway 3, improved travel service and water service connections on Finch Crescent, which once again is the oldest pavement section in the community. Organizationally, anticipated reduction in water service repair calls to the Finch Crescent area if we put in new water services. Budget-wise, any cost overruns in the road construction component of the Mike Johnson Excavating Limited bid can be accommodated by the existing funds in the capital roads budget. Significant dates: in order for the contractor to begin work in early February of 2018, February or March or so, it is recommended that Town Council award this contract as soon as possible. Sustainability: extension of the serviceable life of Finch Crescent and a possible reduction in water service leaks in the area as a result of the installation of several new water services. The options before Council are option number 1, Town Council award Mike Johnson Excavating Limited the contract for 2017 Capital Works Program for $195,903.80, which includes taxes. Option number 2 is that Council award Mike Johnson Excavating Limited the contract for 2017 Capital Works Program without the 68th Avenue intersection improvement component for $158,166.75, taxes included. Option number 3 is that Council requests additional information prior to making a decision. The recommendation of administration is that Council adopt option number 1.
Thank you. Anybody like to make a motion on this one? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Court. I'll move option number 1 as worded and requested.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor King. Any questions about that? Yes, go ahead.
More of a comment. I'm a little concerned about it being slightly over budget. It's not necessarily the amount, it's the fact that it is over budget. However, after reading this report as it was given to us last week, your comment about it being the oldest pavement in Osoyoos certainly helped lessen my concerns with that.
That's according, like, so we have a report, I think, from 2012 from True Consulting, and they did an analysis of all of the roads in town, and this is the oldest pavement section.
Yeah. So that helped me get past that slight overrun on the budget and that kind of thing. In addition to that, many of the residents that live along Finch have been waiting for this to be done for some time, and it's certainly well deserved, so I'm happy making that motion.
And hopefully, like I said, if we don't have to use the contingency sum, then it should come in just at budget.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we go with option number 1. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, you can get out there and get that organized today then, can you?
Well, no, they'll probably start work in the spring.
Okay. Next is the financial request from the Air Cadets. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Correspondence was received from the Bighorn Air Cadet Squadron requesting financial assistance to install solar panels on their building. The squadron is requesting $3,000 to offset the total cost of $35,000 to install solar panels. The squadron building is located in Oliver, and they are securing other grants. The correspondence does not state if other municipalities are contributing funds. There are 30 cadets in total, and they are from Osoyoos, Oliver, and OK Falls. Allocation of these funds can be directed from the Grant and Aid program. For implications for the community, supporting the needs of the youth who take part in this program, organizational liaisoning with the Air Cadet Squadron, the $3,000 budget, the significant dates. They said that they'd like to have everything in place by February 2018, and sustainability. Solar panels would assist the squadron in becoming electrically self-sufficient. In terms of options, option 1, for council not to support this program at this time. Option 2, for council to partially support the request. Option 3, for council to direct staff to gather more information and inquire what other municipalities are contributing and how many participants are from Osoyoos. Once the information is received, to bring back another report to the meeting of council for discussion. And option number 4, for council to direct this request to the 2018 Grant and Aid program. And staff is recommending option number 3. In order to make a decision, we should follow up and get the required information. Option 4 would be a viable option if the squadron deadline was past February of 2018. The current program would not allow for funding to be distributed at that time.
Thank you very much. I do know that there were several members of the Air Cadets that came from Osoyoos at one time. Randy Kazian used to have a van or a bus or something, and he would drive them up. So I think it's a very good idea to find out how many participants are here from Osoyoos right now. Yes.
So I'd like to move option number 4 for a couple of reasons. If there's a seconder, I'd like to talk to it.
Okay. Yes, it's been seconded by Councillor Campbell. Go ahead.
If my grade 4 mathematics is correct, I think we've exhausted our grant and aid funding for this year.
Got 1,500.
Yeah. Secondly, I do have concerns about the ownership of the building and us providing improvements to it. And the final comment that I would like to speak in favor of this option is solar panels are great. I'm very supportive of them. I like them. I like what they do. But I don't place them in the category of having deadlines and urgency, and I certainly think that they can apply for this through the Grant and Aid Program in 2018 and allow the committee to evaluate it and move forward with it at that time.
Anyone else like to speak? So it's been moved and seconded that that council direct the request to the 2008 Grant and Aid Program. Does the letter that they sent, can that be carried over to and provided to the program, or is there something more that they would require?
No, we can do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so that would fit.
Any
Councillor
problem?
King.
I support the idea of moving into next year, but we're not really acquiring any more information around it to make the decision. So would that more information come forward when it's budget time? Or how would that work?
I guess if council wants that as part of that whole process, I guess it can be done. It wouldn't be that difficult for us to get that information as well as part of the program.
I think
I
that's
think that
a good
would be
idea.
important.
Yeah.
So does that change the motion or just
No? So we get the information, but we leave it to the grant and aid program when it comes out in February.
That's part of the process anyway.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. That's
Okay.
part of the process.
All right, all in favor of option number 4? Thank you, that's carried. Next is the notice of motions. No, nothing there. So next is the general net payroll and Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts. As of November the 6th, the general accounts are cash requirements are at $725,048.07. Sun Bowl cash requirements are $5,369.70, and those would both be done by consensus. And the payroll accounts, $67,935.69, and that is received for information. Next is the building report, and we've got quite a lot of building going on here. It looks to me like we've got $1.7 million for the month, several single-family dwellings and alterations, and compared, so that's $12 million for this year versus $6 million for last year. So that's quite a lot of building going on there. Is there anyone that would like to comment on any of these? Yes, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCorduff. Building reports, or at least successful building reports, always reflect a component of local municipalities' economic standing. And as I've done before, I would like to ask council for a couple of minutes of dead silence while we all ponder this and how we're going to pass this incredible information on to the public. But I know that's impractical, and I won't pass a motion or anything asking for that. So, it's a tremendous report, very favorable information, particularly our year-to-date statistics. There is many other barometers in our town that weigh the pros and cons about how solid our economy is, but this is certainly one very important thing, and I like to always pause and dwell on it because it is a very positive document with really good news on it.
Absolutely. Thank you. So are you going to move the that this be received?
Oh,
this,
sure.
Of course. Okay. Councillor Youngberg, you're seconding that. All in favor? Thank you. That's carried. And next are committee reports, and this is the Osoyoos Waterfront Steering Committee. Councillor Rhodes, would you like to speak to this, or we've also got other people here that are in this committee? So
yeah, I think I'll take a pass on this for a while. The report is laid out very well and certainly covers all of the information that was discussed at the meeting. There are a couple of pieces of news that I don't feel comfortable about talking about. Nothing that's secret or behind the doors or anything. It just that I think we require more information at this time, and a more comprehensive report would be better off in a few weeks, I think.
okay. Is there anyone else who's a member of the committee that would like to speak to it, or will we? No, we will wait for another report. Okay. Thank you very much. So we need to have this steering committee minutes be received. Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Campbell, all in favor. Thank you. And CAO report.
Thank you, Mayor McCorduff. Just a few of the activities that the administration has been involved in over the last couple of weeks. Starting first in community services, the Halloween Hollow at Desert Park was a huge success. Thank yous to the volunteers and the staff who made this event happen, especially the students from OSS, and sincere thanks to the Elks for their continued support. Remembrance Day ceremony will be held Saturday at the Sonora Center. Pickleball workshops, level 1 and 2, were held last week at Sonora Community Center, and both were at capacity with a wait list. Desert Park renovations on the grandstands are nearing completion. To date, the grandstands were repaired and painted. New softening was installed and new handrails to be installed later this month. In terms of public works, basically the focus was the winter shutdown with the irrigation systems 8 and 9, all the blowouts of all the irrigation systems, closing down our fountain, so we know that summer is officially over. And unfortunately, the snow clearing and sanding on November 3rd was also carried out. Also developing many reports for the budget package. In terms of myself, I was busy approving many budget reports for the budget package from all departments, reviewed applicants for the planning director position, met with the Hotel Association over operations of the boat trailer parking, reviewed Ball Diamond development options, received 7 town building assessments, and they're in the process of being reviewed. So hopefully for the 20th of November we'll have something to council for their approval on somebody to come and assess our town building. Developed a draft RFP for the medical center project, had a meeting relating to the Whippet development proposal, and also contracted planning assistance for the Lakeshore development proposal and had follow-up meetings on that particular project. So that's my report for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you've been busy. So we need a motion to accept the report. Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you. And that will be council reports. Councillor Rhodes, you're first.
Thank you, Madam Kordoff. I'm going to take a pass. I'm still a little gun-shy from my last rant. And,
we always enjoy
my
it,
thoughts and opinions, so I'm going to take a pass today.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. As acting mayor and with you away in Ottawa this past week, I attended the announcement regarding the continuing discussions about a National Park Reserve. I also attended a meeting at the South Okanagan General Hospital where we had a visit from Minister Adrian Dix, our Minister of Health. In that meeting, I was joined by Mayor Havanas, MLA Larson, representatives from Interior Health, Doctors of BC, our local physicians, as well as hospital staff and nurses. It was an open discussion with the minister regarding the concerns from the perspective of the physicians as well as the municipalities. Some of the things we discussed were the number of beds and the funding for beds in the hospital, as that's been an ongoing discussion for the past year, and looking at an APP, an alternative payment plan around how doctors are paid for their time at the hospital, and look at ways that we were competitive with other municipalities for recruitment and retention purposes. The minister appeared to take in all the information. We also wanted to make clear that the need for our hospital was really important, and there were many statistics discussed by the physicians at this meeting in regards to our demographic, the age demographic, as well as different stages of life as far as medical concerns. We were above the national average, or the provincial average, sorry, in most of those categories. If you couple that between the signs of growth we're seeing in the surrounding areas here with housing developments, the recent census results, the prison coming to town, and all sorts of things would lead us to believe that the communities are going to continue to grow, having an even greater need for the number of beds and having the emergency room open. We hope to hear back from Minister Dix in regards to the conversations that were had, information that was given, and we're hoping to hear back as far as his position and how he plans to respond to the concerns that were brought up in the meeting.
Good. Well, thank you for attending both of those meetings on behalf of the town. I'm sorry I missed them, but I think that's great that there was representation there. Councillor King?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Attended the committee's, there's a Community Services Committee meeting where it was well attended, and really want to thank Mr. Davis for the reports he puts together and the open dialogue that happens there, and the feedback and the information he provides is well prepared and presented. And also attended up at the OIB Culture Center the new announcement of bringing the federal provincial government and the local OIB to the table to discuss the national park.
Good. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for attending that as well. Councillor Youngberg.
Yes, not much to report other than thanking Michelle Quayle for such a wonderful Halloween howl on Main Street. We just had 500 kids. Everybody said, well, I said, how did you know? Well, I went and bought 365 items, and I had to go back and buy another 120.
Wow.
So it was really well done by Michelle, and I think the whole community is very appreciative of her efforts. And, of course, compliments to Community Services and the Elks Club for the Halloween decorations that they did at Desert Park. The kids were just having a great time, so it was enjoyed by all.
Good. Thank you. So I was away for a week in Ottawa attending the International Joint Commission on Transboundary Waterways, and it was because I'm a director on the Osoyoos Lake Board of Control. It was quite interesting. I did feel a little bit like a fish out of water because all of the other people there were environmental experts, lawyers, and engineers. However, I paid attention, took notes, and attended all the representations from all of the boards of control across what they call the swath, the border from and United States and Canada. The interesting thing that I found was that every single board of control, when they reported to the International Joint Commission, complained of flooding and dealing with high water and inflows and all of the problems that comes with. So it was not just the Okanagan Valley this year that dealt with that. It was everybody, particularly the people in the Great Lakes. As you can imagine, many of them, there were many different boards of control involved in Ontario. So I was quite interested in attending that. And when it came time for the Osoyoos Board of Control to make their presentation, we did talk about the film, the river film that was presented here and at the Oliver Theatre. And at the reception that was in Ottawa, they had it playing, but there was too much noise, so nobody could hear what the words were, but at least they could see it. It was very well received by everybody that has seen it so far. And when I got up to help with the report from Osoyoos, I presented the commissioners with Town of Osoyoos pens. I thought they needed to remember Osoyoos, and they will, so I gave them that. Anyway, it was a very interesting week, and I was glad that I had gone. I attended the play, The Games Afoot, last weekend, and Felix, also known as Director Dinwoody, was in that play and did an excellent job. And I just want to thank the South Okanagan amateur players for continuing to put on wonderful plays at least twice a year, and I'm sure that I've been to every one of them 3 times a year now. Okay, sometimes it was only 2 times, but anyway, it was really, really fun, and it's great to support our local artists and our actors. I also attended the Desert Sun Counseling Empty Bowls event at Watermark on Friday night. And there were lots and lots of people there. Wonderful soups from several different restaurants around the area, and it's a good fundraiser for Desert Sun Counseling. So this is the 3rd year they've done it, and I think it was Hester Creek, the restaurant there, that won the prize. Anyway, I was quite inspired, so I went home and made soup this weekend. And it's on Saturday. It is Remembrance Day, November the 11th. We always have a full house at the Sonora Center. Many people come out to pay their respects to our veterans and to all of the people who died in all of the wars, specifically World War I and World War II for Canada. So please know that it will be at 11 o'clock, and it's at the Sonora Center in the gym on Saturday. And I believe the next day there is a Christmas craft show. So as soon as Remembrance Day is finished, we're right into Christmas things. So it's at the Elks Hall on the 12th. There are several other Christmas craft shows that are on this month. Come out and help local people who make wonderful crafts and baking and so on, and support your community. There's also the Seroptimus Breakfast and Fashion Show, which is next Saturday, the 18th, at the Watermark. I believe that we're close to a sellout for the tickets on that one. Lots of things coming up this month and next month, so get involved and enjoy and stay warm. And we have a lovely day today. So that's my report. Thank you very much, and I would like a motion to adjourn the meeting, please. Councillor King, Councillor Youngberg, all in favor. Thank you very much.